is Sports Talk 790. The Doug Pike Show. Brought to you by TPC San Antonio, a PGA Tour experience. Now, Doug Pike.
Let's check in with Frank and see what's going on where he is. Frank Meyer, good morning. How are you?
Good, Doug. How you doing?
Hunting season has started. Our bow hunting. You're from Tender Corp, the first aid kit guys, and you've got a new product. I don't want to get into that. We are in the middle of bow hunting season right now. We got that started on October 1. Our general deer season starts the first weekend in November. Constantly fishing down here, and there are things that can go wrong that could cause what we will call in the breakfast hour just a severe bleeding event, and you guys have a new product to deal with that, don't you?
We do, and you know, so for so long people have been talking about how to stop bleeding wounds, and they talk about pressure points, and there's, you know, certain points on your body that 5-10 years ago they taught that you should apply pressure to them, and they found after doing studies that applying pressure to points other than the bleeding area do no good at all. So one of the things you've got to think about if you have a bleeding wound from like a knife or a gunshot wound.
It happens. It can.
Yeah,
happen.
is to stop the bleeding. So you can put direct pressure on it, but we have a new product out called QuikClot. And QuikClot is a dressing. It's a mesh pouch with zeolite beads in it. Zeolite is a naturally occurring mineral. It's commonly found in the Northwest. And what zeolite beads do is they suck the water out of the blood, so leaving the blood platelets behind to coagulate and to clot the wound area. So basically, all you have to do is rip open the pouch, take the QuikClot out, and apply it directly to the wound, and apply pressure, and the bleeding on average stops in under 5 minutes.
That's pretty good. Really, I hope I never have to put a corner of the wrapper or one of those things between my teeth and rip it open. I really do. But that's one of those things. You know, I was thinking about this the other night when I was doing a little prep for this interview. This is kind of like insurance. It's like car insurance or homeowners insurance. You don't ever want to have to use it, but buddy, if you need it, you better hope it's there, huh?
You never plan to get injured, but you can plan on being prepared when you do get injured. And if you're prepared for that occurrence, then you're going to deal a little more calmly, a little more appropriately, knowing that you have like the knowledge and the supplies to take care of the situation.
How did this stuff start? Talk about the background of using zeolite and where it came from.
Well, it came from the military. So obviously, start of 2002 when we went to Afghanistan and Iraq, we're seeing a lot of our soldiers over there dying on the field from explosive devices, from gunshot wounds, and so that's when QuikClot first started being used, was out in the battlefild. And
you guys are bringing it now to a very easy to use pouch. It's obviously a one-time use deal. I think it's about $10 to have that thing handy. Yeah,
it runs from $10 to $15.
Okay, I think that's the kind of thing that belongs in every first aid kit maybe not for just taking the kids to the soccer field, but if you run a hunting camp, if you're a professional fishing guide, you need 2 or 3 pouches of that on the boat. And I don't believe. It's easy for you to say yes, but I'm going to go ahead and say yes, you need more than one of these as well, because there's a good chance that if something goes terribly wrong, more than one person could be could be in a serious situation. And the last thing you'd want to have to do is say, well, I'm going to fix him up, but you work on that direct pressure thing for a little while. You'd have 2 or 3 of them, or at $10, for $10-15 for heaven's sakes. Anybody who's a professional hunter or charter captain should have at least 3 or 4 of these things sitting around. Do they have a shelf life on them?
The shelf life is like 3 years. So
okay, so it's $5 a year.
Yeah,
$5 a year for insurance against somebody bleeding out on your watch is very cheap.
It's a quick and easy and comfortable solution for most people to use for stopping a bleeding event. And if they have it with them, when it does happen, they know what to do. They've thought about it. They can put the QuikClot on, put pressure on the bleeding area, and they're good. And this product is is think about it. It's not just good for being out on the hunt. I mean, it should be in your car on the way to the hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. I have, knowing how I came up as a little kid, my mom would have benefited greatly from this stuff. Not proud of this, Frank, okay, but I had 2 trips to the ER to get stitches in my head, and this is back when we didn't have all the fancy toys that are out there now. We didn't have video games. What we had was rock wars. We would choose up sides, get on opposite sides of a vacant lot, and throw rocks at each other, and twice I ended up with little stitches in my head from being very enthusiastic about throwing rocks, but not caring so much about dodging them. But yeah, the zeolite would have been good.
People think about, here's another instance of when we used zeolite. We were on our way back from a Boy Scout week-long camp in the state of Washington. We're staying over at a fellow scouter's house in their backyard in our tents, and one of the scouts, being a young scout, climbs a fence.
Of course.
And as he falls over on the other side of the fence, he drags his arm across the top of the fence.
My stomach.
The pointy object.
Yeah.
Ripped a laceration in his arm and was just bleeding profusely. And we used QuikClot there. So it's not just the stuff you know, the obvious things, a gunshot wound or a knife injury. It's the stuff you don't think about. I mean, many people go to the emergency room and when they tell the doctor what happened, it's like they're embarrassed to tell him because you would no way ever think that you would ever be injured by what just happened.
Yeah. I had a cousin who would have benefited. This is back in the 60s. Down in my grandparents' house in Florida, slipped. They lived on a canal down there that opened up to the Intracoastal, like a lot of people do on the east coast of Florida. And he slipped off the seawall, and on his way down to the bottom of the canal, there is only maybe a foot of water and maybe a 3-foot fall. But he caught just above the ankle an oyster shell protruding from the side of that, and it ripped him all the way to the knee, almost to the bone. Yeah, that was a major bleeding event. I had a question come in from one of my listeners here. Does this work for older people on blood thinners? Blood thinners,
it does work for anticoagulants.
Good. Outstanding.
So it's a new product. I mean, it's been used in the military since the early 2000s. They've just made this consumer edition, QuikClot Sport Home.
Okay.
And it's only available in a few spots now. And I think around where you are, the Walmarts in Brenham, Crosby, Liberty, and Montgomery carry it, for example. So
yeah, that'd be a good idea to just check with the doctor. If you're on a blood thinner and say, hey, I want to keep this around the house. If I have a situation, is this going to help me? And I suspect it would. I don't know why it wouldn't. Let's pull back a little off the major bleeding events and just go back to talk about basic first aid for a second. How much first aid kit should the average hunter-fisherman be carrying?
Well, when you look for a first aid kit to carry with you, think about this. It's not the number of pieces in your first aid kit that matter. It's the pieces that will take care of specific items.
Right.
So you have antihistamines in your first aid kit for allergic reactions from a bee sting. You have a nice pair of splinter picker forceps for removing ticks or splinters. You have irrigation syringe for cleaning out wounds, like the laceration you might get from your knife.
Right.
You have, dressings like the common 4x4 and 2x2 dressing or the gauze wrap that you hold the dressings in place with. I mean, you need a few of those. Bandages, adhesive bandages. Obviously, you need a few of those. You don't need 100 of them because if you're a hunter, if you're going out there, you don't want to carry a big first aid kit. You want to carry a compact, appropriate size kit that you're going to be willing to carry with you in the field.
Yeah, that's exactly. You bring up a good point. As soon as you talked about not worrying about the number of items in one, it flashed me back to all these television commercials you see for packets of lures where they're going to send you 500 pieces, and 490 of those pieces aren't really worth having. You just don't need 100 Band-Aids out there in the field. We can only hope that you're not going to need 100 Band-Aids unless you are individually bandaging every mosquito bite you get or something like that maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. You want the right stuff. So what are we? I'm presuming you got Frank Meyer from Tender Corp, by the way. What are you? Do you guys have specific kits for specific outdoor activities, or are there just general kits? Or what's the best way to go on something like that?
Well, at our website, AdventureMedicalKits.com,
right,
It's we have a series of medical kits called the Sportsman series, and that's specifically targeted toward hunting. So there's a kit there called the Outfitter, which would be great for a guide or a large group going out hunting from a base camp. There's a kit for the sports called the Sportsman out of the Sportsman series, which is great for the individual hunter. There's also a kit called the Hunter, which has a removable day pack, trauma pack that you could take with you in the field. So you can leave the bigger kit in your truck, and then you could take the smaller pack with you out into the field.
Perfect. That's a good deal.
So, yeah, the Sportsman series.
Well, I got another question for you. I'm running a little bit short of time. The expiration dates on, say, antibiotic ointments, stuff like that, are they spot on, or is there some fudge factor in those things?
Well, the reason why, let me just tell you an overview,
Sure.
is that on antibiotic ointments and medications and things like that, expiration dates are what they are, typically 3 years, because that's how long the individual manufacturer tests for.
Okay.
So what they found, though, in other studies, the military did a big study on this, they found that after 10 years, something like an acetaminophen product loses like 10% of its efficacy. So it's about a 90% strength
so it's
instead
still,
of 100%.
Yeah, it's still worth having around. If you look up and you see that it's expired, but you got a headache, it's still worth going ahead and taking that acetaminophen. It's going to help.
Well, the thing about these kits are, I mean, there's the products in the first aid kit that expire. I mean, there's only a handful. It's not very many.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm with you. My thought is, hey, if it's expired, just dump it and put some new stuff in there. You're talking about replacing it with a couple of bucks worth of stuff, or just replace the whole kit and give that one to a volunteer group or something that might need some of the stuff out of it.
What we do is if you register your kit that you purchase from us, or any kit for that matter, at a website called registeryourkit.com, go on and register your even homemade first aid kit on our site, and we'll give you a discount code for 50% off refill items.
Holy mackerel!
Because we want everybody to keep their kit in stock. We want people to reuse that soft-sided nylon organizer bag the kit comes in. We just want people to recycle, reuse, refill their kits.
See, we dug around and we found something really good to talk about right there. That's outstanding. Yeah. Congratulations to you guys for coming up with that plan. That's it. That is a good deal. And I know my wife is a big boy. If it expires in November 2011, then on November 1st, 2011, she's throwing it away. She's throwing it away. And so she would be a great candidate. I may talk to her about this, because we've got a couple of your kits around the house, and I'm going to go ahead and register those things and be ready to replace some items.
Yeah.
Much obliged. Frank Meyer from Tender Corp. AdventureMedicalKits.com. That's where you're going to find the good stuff, the stuff you need in your boat, in your truck, in your house, and especially this new QuikClot home product. That's going to save some lives, man. You guys need to keep a running tally. I know from talking to you and from Simon, you're not the kind of guys who are going to brag about that, but it'll be nice to know internally.
Yeah.
That's a great product. Okay, now it's available at Walmart, did you say?
Yeah, the Walmart stores around Houston. The QuikClot is available.
Outstanding.
QuikClot Home.
Frank Meyer, AdventureMedicalKits.com. You'll find some good kits there. Take care of you in the out of doors. Keep us all safe and sound. And by the way, that nice little deal for half off on refills. Go ahead and register your kit. That's a good one. Frank, thank you very much. I appreciate you circling back this morning, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Doug.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. Adios.